Greek food, drink, and culture all here in D.C. You're invited to the Greek Festival at St. Sophia's.
And deep below the National Mall, we're unearthing 100 years of history beneath the Lincoln Memorial.
All of that plus the top stories from the News Rundown is straight ahead on We Are Washington. Welcome to We Are Washington. Coming up, we'll explore the rarely seen world that lies beneath one of our city's most beloved memorials.
And we'll discover the best of Greek life as we tour the annual festival at St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Cathedral. All of that coming up, but first, let's get to the news rundown. District workers now have a little more money in their pockets thanks to the fight for 15. Effective July 1st, the minimum wage for district workers increased from $11.50 to $12.50 an hour. The increase is a result of Mayor Marion Bowser's fight for 15 legislation. Under the law, the minimum wage will increase to $15 an hour by the year 2020.
We're more prosperous than we've ever been in the history of the District of Columbia. And we can say those things because a lot of people have worked together to invest in schools, to invest in safe neighborhoods, and to invest in fantastic corridors, right? Those are good things. But we also want to make sure all of our policies are working towards making sure each and every Washingtonian has a fair shot at participating in that prosperity.
The mayor celebrated the first increase at a local family business in Northwest called A Baked Joint, whose owners also support the push to increase the minimum wage. Nearly 13,000 summer youth employees are now at work all across the district.
Mayor Marion Bowser kicked off the 2017 Mayor Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program, which has been helping district youth land their first jobs since 1979.
And I would like to thank the SYEP program for granting me the opportunity to join the workforce at a young age. The program helped me build the foundation for the career that I have today.
As part of the kickoff, Mayor Bowser announced a scholarship program that will give 25 participants $2,000 towards post-secondary education. The scholarships will be awarded at the end of the summer. This year, the MBSYEP program was permanently expanded to include young people ages 14 to 24.
D.C. is making progress in the fight to end the HIV epidemic. Mayor Marion Bowser released the district's HIV/AIDS, Hepatitis, STD, and TB Administration annual report. Among the findings, the number of newly diagnosed HIV cases in Washington, D.C. decreased 52% since 2011. The mayor also described a new campaign to stop the spread of HIV called You Equals You.
This new campaign is based on science, confirming that persons with HIV who take their medications consistently and achieve viral load suppression, which means that we often refer to as the virus being undetectable, do not transmit HIV to others.
More people are getting connected to care faster, and they're starting and staying on treatment longer. And we are focused in our city on a treatment as prevention approach.
It's not quite the Oscars, but the annual K-Fritz Awards does recognize outstanding performances by D.C. government employees. Mayor Bowser honored 5 individuals and 1 innovative team for their outstanding service to the residents of Washington, D.C. at the 16th annual K-Fritz Awards. To learn more about the winners, visit kfritzawards.org.
The mayor also recognized returning residents that have made great strides in turning their lives around and those that have supported them along the way at the annual Excellence in Reentry Awards program. The awards are presented by the Mayor's Office on Returning Citizens Affairs, known as MORCA.
A memorial bench honoring the life of civil rights icon Julian Bond was dedicated outside the Chevy Chase Community Center on Connecticut Avenue. Bond was chairman of the NAACP and a member of the Georgia State Legislature for 20 years. But he called Chevy Chase his home for decades and was a beloved member of the community who was often spotted strolling the neighborhood.
For the 3rd year in a row, the district is topping the Environmental Protection Agency's list of cities with ENERGY STAR certified buildings. ENERGY STAR ratings are based on buildings' environmental impact and the energy it consumes versus the greenhouse gas it creates. The D.C. Department of Energy and Environment says during 2016, ENERGY STAR buildings helped save the district more than $167 million in energy costs. and avoid 716,000 tons of greenhouse gases, the equivalent of taking 151,000 drivers off the roads.
New Beginnings Youth Development Center is giving back to seniors one lawn at a time. It's all part of a new program called The Grass is Greener, which helps seniors with lawn care while providing young people a chance to give back to their community. Mayor Bowser helped mow the lawn and raise awareness about the initiative, which currently serves 16 residents on Saturdays. The mayor says the program offers senior homeowners help while providing young people at New Beginnings important job skills.
I know what they feel and think when they're in there because I've been there. But I know that there's a lot more hope and opportunity for them. I'm a typical person that once was said would never be anything, and to put me away for the duration. And so it just goes to speak that people can change. So I can identify with them, and they know that. They feel that from me.
District seniors proved they're young at heart at DPR's annual Senior Fest. There was music and dancing as residents enjoyed the free picnic at Kenilworth Park. Senior Fest is an annual event to celebrate DC seniors. All right, there's a lot going on, but we have time for a quick few items for the news recap today.
I was interested in the Julian Bond bench that's now in front of the Chevy Chase Community Center. I liked what Councilmember Mary Che from Ward 3 mentioned, that, you know, even though it might seem like a modest tribute to such kind of a towering figure in civil rights. Actually, Julian Bond was somebody who really appreciated his neighborhood and walking around, and he was somebody who would very much appreciate just sitting on a bench. So I think it's a very fitting tribute to him.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. He would probably appreciate a tribute like that, 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about quick the minimum wage increase. When you first talk about the fight for 15 and you think about what that means, and the legislation being signed, that's one thing. But when you start to see the results
in your paycheck, yes,
you start to see more money in your pocket, and that's becoming a reality. I think that's important for people, and you know, it's exciting to see that starting to incrementally take place by 2020 when it'll be $15 an hour.
I wanted to mention, you're talking about workers. It's really amazing that we have nearly 13,000 young people who are part of the Summer Youth Employment Program. I think Marion Barry would be so delighted to see that this program he started in the 70s is not only still around, but it's actually expanded. And I think that if you've ever had the experience of living with teenagers over summer, which I am doing currently, you know the importance of them having meaningful employment. So this is a great thing, and we are fortunate enough to have 4 amazing summer youth employees right here working for us, and they're great, and we benefit so much from that.
We do. They're able to make a contribution to everything that we do here. I say the only downside of it is that we have to say goodbye at the end of the summer. That's the only part that's the downside.
Well, good thing we say goodbye, because otherwise they'd be taking our jobs. But that's
okay. Well, still plenty ahead on We Are Washington. We're traveling beneath the National Mall to bring you a view of the Lincoln Memorial you won't see anywhere else.
And after the break, it's gyros and so much more. All the great food and culture at St. Sophia's Greek Festival. Don't go away.
For over 100 years, St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Cathedral has served as a hub for Greek life in Washington, D.C. The annual festival is among the most popular summer events in the city and is an opportunity to introduce Greek culture to the broader community. To ensure we got the best of the fest, we enlisted the help of one of the many young volunteers that has grown up at St. Sophia's to serve as our festival ambassador. Take a look.
The annual festival here at St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Church is such an amazing tradition that a lot of Washingtonians make it here each and every year. And I have one of them with me. This is Eleni. And Eleni, I know you have a very special connection to this church and to this festival. Tell me about it.
Well, my grandfather was the priest over 50 years here. He recently passed away, but we spent most of the time just walking around, greeting people, and it was just a wonderful experience to have with him while he was here.
So you have a lot of great memories, I know, of being with him here at this festival. And you're also sort of an expert now at this festival, because how many of these have you attended?
Well, I'm 17, so I guess one every year.
Which would be?
17.
Approximately.
I've been going literally ever since I've been a baby. Yeah.
Okay, so you truly are an expert at the St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Festival, so I can ask you the most important question.
Definitely.
What is the first food item I should purchase here at the festival?
Well, if you're not looking for sweets, I think you should go get a gyro. A lot of Americans call it gyro.
Gyro,
but
yes.
We call it gyro.
Gyro.
It's basically just a combination of beef and lamb on a spit, and it's roasted, and it's like the best Greek sandwich you can get.
Okay. Eleni, you are the festival expert, so let's go get a gyro. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So probably the only difficult thing about a gyro is how to eat it
yeah.
gracefully.
Basically.
Do you have any tips?
It's physically impossible.
Oh, okay. So don't even try. I wouldn't recommend trying to eat this on a romantic date.
No,
this is strictly for friends. All right.
Close friends.
Close friends. Yeah, no, this is not.
Ooh, that was a great one.
Oh, look at how dainty. Nicely done. This is really good. I know our cameraman is very jealous. I'm sorry for torturing you.
St. Sophia Cathedral was established in 1904. We're over 110 years old. It was the hub for all the Greeks that came over. The festival is one of our major outreach initiatives. It's an event that brings the whole community together, and we open our arms and our doors to the broader community.
So my Greek friends are going to teach me a very simple but very popular Greek dance. I have never tried it before, so it might not be that graceful, but we're gonna give it a shot. That's the way you learn. Okay, we'll stumble through it.
Okay, got it.
Tell me about this frappe, because I love coffee, so I'm very intrigued by this coffee drink.
Okay, well, in Greece, traditionally, you either drink frappe or you drink Greek coffee, which is the hot coffee. It's very strong. But on 90-degree days like this, we're gonna want some frappe.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
It's
Please.
very good.
Yes.
Starbucks got this from us. We invented a lot of things, basically everything, including iced coffee. There you go.
Very excited. That is very good. This is dangerous. I think I need to start every day like this.
I drink about 3 a day when I'm working here.
Okay, Alex, tell me about these. So these are basically Greek donuts.
They're Greek donuts. So pop them in the fryer for about 5 to 8 minutes, pull them out, bring them over to the syrup, douse them in syrup, bring them over here, cover them in cinnamon. They're better than regular donuts.
So I guess in every culture, people have learned to appreciate fried dough.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's the best thing ever.
So about how many of these little lucamadas do you go through?
I can make 200 at a time easy in this fryer. So
Okay.
A couple hundred to 1,000 a day.
All right. Keeping everybody nice and healthy.
Absolutely, of course.
Eleni, this was great. Thank you so much for being my ambassador to the Greek Festival.
Oh, no problem.
You showed me everything, and I know that you are off to college, but promise me you'll come back to the
Oh,
festival.
I would not miss it.
Okay, you'll be back next
Yes,
year.
definitely.
So any of you come by the festival, look for Eleni because she's going to help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I call it a gyro, but am I to understand that I've been wrong all these years?
You've been, every time you've said that, you've been absolutely wrong. Yes, we now have it on, good authority, that it is definitely gyro.
And now I can't offer any authority on the topic because when I was in high school, I actually worked at a Greek restaurant, which you'd think I would have learned at that point if it should be this way or that way, but everybody had their own way of saying it.
Well, any customer who comes up and is willing to pay for it, they can get a gyro or a gyro.
We sold both.
Exactly. Don't go anywhere because after the break, we're taking you on an exclusive tour beneath the Lincoln Memorial. The National Mall is a place where millions of Americans visit each year to learn, reflect, and get closer to our nation's history. The experience at the parks, monuments, and memorials are unmatched. And for at least one attraction on the mall, there's more to it than meets the eye.
The Lincoln Memorial sits on a hill, drawing visitors up the steps and into the main chamber, allowing them to reflect on the contribution of America's 16th president. But it's what's beneath their feet that makes the memorial an engineering marvel of its time. Its features are unmistakable. Bold architecture, sprawling open park space, iconic marble columns. Informally referred to as America's front yard, the National Mall is home to some of the country's oldest and most recognizable monuments, memorials, and parks. With 24 million people each year visiting the National Mall, about 1/3 of them take the time to see this structure, built for America's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. Poised on the west end of the mall, the Lincoln Memorial sits atop a grassy hill. Those paying homage climb the sprawling hillside along with the dozens of steps to reach the main chamber. But beneath their feet lies one of the best kept secrets beneath the National Mall.
I think the vast majority of people have no idea what's underneath their feet when they go through the Lincoln Memorial.
And there is little reason for guests to ask. The surrounding landscape presents the memorial as perfectly perched upon a hill that seems as though it was made just for this structure. The inside of the memorial inspires awe as visitors view President Lincoln flanked by his two most famous speeches. But what lies below is a marvel in and of itself.
We are right now in an area that not many people get to see. We are underneath the Lincoln Memorial.
When construction began in 1914, the memorial was built on what was essentially reclaimed swampland from the Potomac River.
It's a hill to the unknowing eye, but it's a man-made. The entire thing is man-made. The construction, in its simplest terms, was to build these footings and these foundations. Once those foundations were in place, the memorial was constructed on top of them.
And once it was ready, earth was brought in to cover the foundation. Finally, stairs were constructed leading to the memorial, creating the scene we see today.
Probably one of the more fascinating things that you would never expect to find down here is this series, a couple dozen in all probably, of charcoal caricatures or cartoons, for lack of a better word. And you can just sort of picture workmen on a lunch break or, a smoke break in 1916, 17, whatever, grabbing a piece of charcoal and then just, having at it.
The crude drawings bridge a centuries gap of history in America's front yard, bringing to life the human element that originally constructed this memorial.
This gentleman appears time and again, and we can take a look at a couple more of the ones of him. That leads me to some speculation that, he must have been somebody important, that the workers would draw him 3 or 4 or 5 times, either to mock him or to otherwise memorialize him down here.
There was no shortage of canvas space for charcoal drawings like these. The dark, quiet undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial can at times have the feel of an old abandoned Gothic cathedral with its high, dramatic ceilings. Footings raised 30 to 40 feet above the ground, holding the memorial on a pedestal, go deep below the ground at the same distance, stabilizing the structure, a design marvel for the early 1900s.
You can see where the wooden forms were that were built, and then the concrete poured into them. So it was a matter of building these wooden forms, pouring the concrete, let it set, move the forms up higher, pour and set, and continue to move up.
The undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial is so well preserved, remnants of the original construction are still present today.
A couple of archaeologists that came down, investigated, photographed it. The things that were worth keeping, workmen's shoes, for example, that were down here, they were cataloged and removed to a storage area.
Preserving historical items and making sure future generations can experience not just the Lincoln Memorial, but the history living beneath it is the goal of a $25 million renovation and restoration project currently underway.
We're going to kick that out and make 15,000 square feet of space down here that will contain exhibits and places for school groups to come in and learn about it. And one of the things that we're going to do in part of that process is to figure out how to show off this undercroft, these foundations and footings that are so fascinating but so few people get to see right now.
Opening the doors and allowing anyone who visits to experience another corner of America's front yard.
What a privilege that you can say you're one of the few people that's actually been underneath the Lincoln Memorial.
Right, yeah, and you know what? For a short period of time, well, first of all, yes, it was fun to go down there and see what it was all about. But for a short period of time, the National Park Service actually did allow tours to go down there for at least a limited part of it. And that had to calm down. They had to stop doing that because, as you could imagine, you saw the pictures, those wide open spaces, all the columns. It presented a lot of opportunity where people might be able to hide or get lost down there.
Security concerns.
Security concerns. So they decided that they should close it off. And also for some of the artifacts that you saw in there too, the drawings and some of the construction material that they talked about that was on the floor down at the bottom of the memorial. They wanted to preserve that too, and that's all part of it. That's all the time that we have for today, but we do have time for one last thing.
Matt, I was really inspired by your piece, and I was reading about the dedication of the Lincoln Memorial, which took place in 1922, and it turns out that Robert Todd Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's only surviving son, was able to be there and attend, which I thought was really nice, that he was there. And when he arrived for the dedication, he received a standing ovation.
Yes. And I remember reading that he was very interested in the construction process, would check in on it, and even would stop by, have his driver go out of his way to stop by so that he could see it as it was in progress too. So yeah, it's a pretty neat story.
The only thing you didn't mention in your piece about the Lincoln Memorial is I've always thought because it's open 24 hours and it's so beautiful, it's also a very popular and lovely place for a proposal.
Yes.
So if anybody out there is planning to propose, consider the Lincoln Memorial.
You see that sometimes too. Yeah, you'd be out there and sometimes you might see it once in a while, somebody out there proposing. Yeah,
exactly.
It's nice scenery, of course. All right, well, that is all the time that we have for today, but we'd like to remind you that you can go search for our programs or any of the other shows that we have here at the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment by going and searching our YouTube channel at Entertain DC.
See you next time.